My name is Mary Strudwick Wagstaff, and I started surfing when I was 17 years old in Ocean City, Maryland in 1966. I was spending my first summer there, and I'd gotten a job, and I think I'd seen the endless summer and was really attracted to surfing, and maybe I'd seen people in the water. I really don't remember. But I do remember renting a longboard at the bait and tackle shop down there under the bridge someplace, and walking it across the huge expanse, big heavy board to the beach, across the huge beach there, and trying to surf. I think I stood up on my second time, and looking back, I don't remember having any instruction. I don't remember how I learned how to do it. I just threw the board in the water and tried to do it like I'd seen other people doing it. And the first time I was out, really, I just was totally hooked, and I knew it was something I wanted to do. So I didn't want to keep renting surfboards, so I decided I had to save my money and buy a surfboard. So I saved pennies from my meager salary at the time and waited for weeks. I probably didn't even eat that much because I put as much money as I could into my surfboard fund. And I remember walking down, I think I had it in a jar, walking down from 5th Street down to Ron John Surf Shop with my little surfboard dollars and going in and buying a 9.2 Hansen surfboard. I don't know why I bought that board. They probably recommended it to me, and then carrying it back. I walked out of that store and never went back in it again. Then there was Spider Surf Shop on 15th Street, and that was where I spent all my time looking at the boards, exchanging big boards for shorter boards, then shorter boards, then shorter boards as that period of time went by. And the people were really nice. Spider was really nice. The people that worked there were nice. We all surfed together. It was open in the winter, so when I was in high school, I could go over and hang out during the weekends, much to my parents' distress. They didn't understand why I wanted to hang around in the surf shops. The other surf shop I remember was South Moon Under, and I don't remember ever buying a board from Frank or anything, but I remember liking the people there and spending a little bit of time there. I used to get up in the morning and go out and check the surf, and if it was good, I would grab my surfboard and go surf, usually at sunrise. And in those early years, I started meeting the people that surfed in that area around 5th Street. But I surfed every chance I could. I'd surfed at 5th Street before the lifeguards came on, and at that time, 100th or 99th Street didn't have any hotels or condos or construction on it, no development. So surfers could go down there and be in the ocean all day long. And I spent many, many, many days down there. It was so great. My favorite surf break in Maryland was probably 15th Street because I lived there for a couple years, and it was right there on the boardwalk, and a lot of people surfed there. We get together in the morning, and then after the lifeguards were off, I remember the waves being decent, and we had a lot of fun, and it was close. I didn't have to drive there. I could ride my bike with my board under my arm. And I also really loved Assateague Island because it was also wild and away from the crowds and people, and you got to paddle across and walk to actually get to the surf spot. I don't know if any one person really influenced me when I was young. That I didn't really know what I was doing. I had just seen people surfing, and it was fun, and I wanted to have fun, and I loved being in the water. But as far as style or what people were doing in the water at the time, in the early days, I don't know. As long as you could stand up on the surfboard, that was all I really cared about at the time. Later on, as boards changed and got shorter, I remember watching and admiring some of the local surfers. David Hartman and Gary Ferguson and Skill Johnson were a few of the people I remember. The second year I surfed, the Middle Atlantic Surfing Championship had pretty big contest. I never met Mimi Monroe, and I only knew about her from seeing her at the contest when the Dewey Weber team came to Ocean City, and probably seeing pictures of her in surfer magazines. I thought she was pretty cool because she was a woman surfer. She was from Florida. She was good, and she got to travel and surf and hang out with all these cool people. So I was probably very envious of her position in life. And she was younger than I was too. That summer I thought, well, maybe next year I'll enter the contest. And that was 68. Somehow I managed to get first place and got a trophy. So I thought that was really cool because I think because I was one of the few women surfers, I really wanted to be acknowledged for the fact that I actually was doing it and could surf and was really dedicated. So it was really cool to have a trophy. Another woman that I surfed with, Roxy Houston, was in the contest with me, and she got second place. But then a few weeks later, they had a small contest in Fenwick Island. And in that contest, she got first place, and I got second place. So it felt very just. The only time I traveled outside of Maryland to surf, not including Delaware, was when I went with a surfer girlfriend, Kiki, to Ocean City, New Jersey. And I remember it particularly because I probably had the best wave of my life there up until that point. A beautiful, thick, right, rolling wave with a nice face on it, which I hadn't seen much of in Maryland. And it was a really nice size too. And I remember, I can still see it now, taking off, turning right, and then this guy drops it on me and laughs at me. And it's as clear as if it happened yesterday. It's made quite an impression on me. But I always remember that wave. And even in California now, it's like all the waves are like that in California. But I thought, that was like the one California wave I had on the East Coast. Because I was an artist when I was young also, when I wasn't surfing, in the evenings, I remember we would go down to the boardwalk, and where the ramps went up to the boardwalk, it was concrete. And I would take my magic markers and draw Murph the Surf cartoons all over the concrete there. And they stayed there for years. It was, not years, but maybe months. I used to go back and see them in the fall. But I was thinking the other day, I was remembering doing that and thinking, gee, that was kind of like pre-graffiti. It was pre-tagging, way back in the 60s, drawing the surf characters. I remember a funny thing that happened to me a couple of years ago when I first started surfing. Every time I caught a wave, I'd always look on the beach to see if my friends were there or somebody saw, especially if it was a good wave. And this one particular morning I was out and I saw this form on the beach, and I thought that one of my friends was out. And you're always looking to see if they're going to come out in the water, what's going to happen. And I remember catching a wave, and then I'd look and I'd see the person, and then I'd paddle back out, and then I'd catch another wave, and I'd wipe out or do something weird, and I'd look and I go, oh God, they saw that too, and I'd paddle back out, and it wasn't until later on I paddled in I realized I'd been surfing for a stick. There was a stick or a big log sitting up, and I had all this time I thought it was a person. So it kind of went, you gotta just surf for yourself. You can't surf for anybody or anything or any piece of wood.